I think when fans and analysts look at unique picks within, call it professional play, LCS, LEC, LCK, etc., they only see the upside. But I think there are massive downsides to playing unique picks. Previously, before we've seen, of course, Aurelion Sol used to be a very unique and niche pick. Rumble support, Zac Top, like all these picks kind of came out of nowhere, unless you were watching solo queue. And I think a lot of these picks actually have a huge cost to even run them. And first of all, the difficulty of running a unique pick is the fact that oftentimes, and this is just quite nebulous of an idea, I guess you could call it, like philosophically, is that most of the time you need social proof in order to do anything within your life. You think of people that copy other different things, like such as fashion trends or whatnot. Usually it comes from social proof. It comes from seeing things and saying, oh, okay, that looks kind of cool. I should do that as well. For instance, art or music, like all of these things typically run off of social proof, and that is to say, a artist, usually when they become popular, they become more and more popular. It's like an exponential growth. That's the same thing with art as well, like paintings and things like that. And the problem with liking a particular niche artist or whatnot, call it a musician, is that it kind of puts all of your preferences bare, right? It puts it out to the world to judge. And so therefore, if you have some unique niche thing that you like, then people can scrutinize it more and say, oh, you are like one of the few people that actually like this. So therefore I can scrutinize you even harder rather than you liking, fucking Taylor Swift, or you liking, I don't know, Blackpink or something like that, right? So it's way harsher when you do this. Now, social proof can go another way as well. I have a joke with one of my friends that he said, pussy comes in waves, right? And it's a phrase of like, pussy comes in waves because other women see that other women like you, so therefore other women are then more prone to like you. So pussy does actually come in waves. And it's because of the social proof aspect. It's to say, oh, this guy is somewhat likable. Other women seem to like him, so therefore maybe I should like him. Restaurants operate the same exact way. Restaurants that have a long line tend to get more customers because they have a long line, right? And people are just curious and they're like, oh, well, that place is clearly good because other people are lining up to it. That means, hey, maybe I should check that restaurant out one day. I'm going to try and dodge the line, on a Tuesday or something. So these are the problems, I guess, with the social proof aspect, and the fact that, yes, you do need social proof in some ways in order to run unique picks and unique champions. But the huge problem with doing this is that you don't have anyone to learn from or borrow from at all, because no one else is playing these champions. Just imagine if you play Vel'Koz mid. Who the fuck plays Vel'Koz mid in professional play? Nobody. Faker is the only one that I can think of in any remotely recent memory of a player that actually plays Vel'Koz mid. And I like to equate this to myself of working on a rare engine, right? So I have a CA18 DET for a 240SX. Nobody fucking runs that engine. Everyone runs the SR20, and it's really hard to get information on this engine. But that means that you have to be quite knowledgeable, and you have to go into, call it engine building, with the knowledge that, hey, it's going to be really tough to get some information on this. So if you're going into, building a niche rare engine for a car, you should at least know that. Just the same thing as you playing a unique champion within League of Legends professionally, you should know that, hey, it's going to be really difficult for you to know how it works in a team composition appropriately. So One of the huge underrated aspects of playing a unique pick in, call it, the professional leagues is the fact that a lot of professional players think that it wastes scrim time. They oftentimes do not want to play with a unique pick because, first of all, they have no idea what the fuck it does. They don't know when that champion is powerful. They don't know what it can even do half of the time. So they are less inclined to play with that champion. And I did a interview with Xerxes back in the day. I want to say this was like in 2019 or something when he was over in the LCS. And he said that there's always apprehension to try new picks because it wastes scrim time.
For example, I like to experiment a lot with new picks, and now I feel like I have to really think about, hey, when do I want to pull out this new champion? Because is he gonna ruin the practice? I have 15 games of scrims. I need to utilize those scrims efficiently.
And so he's completely right. It can potentially waste scrim time because who knows if this unique pick is actually going to work out and you're even going to use this pick to begin with. And sometimes it's so niche that you're only going to use it in a clutch moment within a series or whatnot. So why would you instill, so much effort to play this pick if it's only going to be used in one game or two games or whatnot? So that's completely valid. Yes, it could actually potentially waste scrim time. And I want to point towards another interview that I did with Dokla back in 2018, where essentially he said he got denied scrims and then they actually had to develop their own meta.
I don't know which meta is better, but we definitely have our scrim partners that we form a meta with, and then we don't really see what the enemy's meta is, like TSMs. We don't know what their meta is until it's shown on stage or how they want to play. So
as you can see, that's crazy because at some point maybe you do have to develop your own meta, which then can actually create these unique picks in these unique situations. And I actually think that happens more often than you would initially think as well too. Some teams actually do get denied scrims because they're just shitty teams, and so they have to develop their own conceptions of the meta, and that sometimes can work in their favor in the sense that they can bring out something unique. They could be the wild card team and actually be a dark horse within the league and upset things. And I think that's where you can actually, start cooking a little bit, right? But initially, when I think of the idea of having unique champion picks, the first thing that you have to do to try and play a unique champion is you have to try it in solo queue. But there's apprehension to do that often because, first of all, people care about their elo a lot. People care about how high rank they are, no matter if they're a pro player or not. And it's the actual good pro players that don't give a shit about their rank that much. And the fact that they'll be able to drop down to, D1 or D2 and be perfectly fine with that. And it's this good balance of making it to where you can actually start practicing unique strategies or unique picks, which may actually drop your MMR and drop your LP, but you stay within that zone to where you still play against very good opponents, like you aren't playing against fucking D4 players, because obviously that wouldn't be good practice. So you then have to climb back up a little bit so that you sustain your MMR and you sustain your LP, and then you could start experimenting again and again and again. So it's this very delicate balance. But like I said, a lot of pros have some apprehension with playing these unique picks, and they don't expand their champion pool because it's going to lower their fucking MMR. But I think that in and of itself is indicative of the idea that we don't actually see these unique picks often. Now, one huge caveat that I'll give to playing unique picks within professional play, and a huge negative as to why we don't see them, is because you might actually not be the player or the team that perfects it. you might actually bring out this pick and it looks, relatively good, but then another team will perfect it. This is classically what happens within North America, to where North America develops a strategy or something, and then Korea just steals the information and just becomes a better version of what we do. It's happened countless times at Worlds. Basically every fucking time the Koreans end up taking whatever meta that happens. They aren't the first ones to do it, and they figure out, okay, they got beat with this strategy. Now they're going to try and perfect it, and they crystallize it. That happens way too often. And I like to make it akin to two different artists, musicians, that this actually happened to. T-Pain and Lil Wayne. Both of these artists started to use auto-tune, specifically T-Pain. He was one of the originators of the new age version of auto-tune. Of course, way, way, way back in the day. If you want to go back, I think it was Prince was the first person to use auto-tune. But T-Pain ended up popularizing it again and bringing it back in the early 2000s. But he wasn't the one that actually popularized it. In fact, he wasn't the one that perfected it. It was, in fact, Lil Wayne that perfected it, and he started to use that. Drake started to use auto-tune, and it became this very popular thing. But no one attributes auto-tune to T-Pain, really. At least all of the young kids don't. They just know auto-tune from Drake, right? So you might not actually be the one that perfects auto-tune in League of Legends, which is the negative side of playing unique picks, because you give the idea to someone else and then they perfect it, right? Now, I'd like to harken back to the idea of coaching in the sense of trying to get someone to actually play unique picks. I think this often doesn't happen. LS, when he was coaching for Cloud9, said that Summit didn't like to try off-meta things. And in fact, when Cloud9 was trying to do off-meta things, there would be the Koreans that didn't really want to try and do these things. They wanted to play standard. They wanted to play meta picks. They wanted to play what fucking Chovy was playing or whatever, or Faker, right? They wanted social proof. Now, people within a hierarchical structure, from a hierarchical society, want social proof. Those, types of cultures want that because it's proven from the top down. It all trickle down economics, right? So it becomes very difficult. And this is the unique, or the negative aspect of unique picks, is the fact that you have to convince people that oftentimes only go off of social proof in terms of how they actually play the game. But I think the hugest thing of playing unique picks, and call it the negative aspect of it, is the fact that I don't think you can create a team identity with unique picks. I don't think a identity is you're the team that plays unique picks, right? That's quite misguided, right? That's something that doesn't have any accuracy, that doesn't have any aim towards the play style that you want to play. It's different as far as unique picks and how you want to play those unique picks, but that's not a play style, right? It's just watching TV is not a hobby, right? So unique picks are not a team identity, and that's one of the huge pitfalls that I think a lot of these different teams that try and actually be the dark horse within the league end up falling into. You think of Shopify Rebellion. They were known, at least within Spring Split of 2024, of having unique picks, especially with their mid laner Insanity. And then obviously in 2024 summer, they started to try to pivot towards that in the later parts of Summer Split. But it's I think the big problem with that is that they misunderstand that is a team identity when it's actually not. That's just a unique pick. That's all that it is. So these are some of the big critical aspects that I think unique picks have on a team, on a player, on just the greater society of, call it, professional League of Legends. And I don't think they're actually worth as much weight as people put it up to be. And I think part of the reason of that is because fans say that they love to see all these unique picks or whatnot because they get to see their favorite champion play within the game, right, at a professional or very high level. And they also just want to see the fireworks, right? They just want to see things explode, and they want to see action and novelty happen within the game. And they don't give a fuck if, Team A or Team B loses. They just love the novelty aspect of it. So I think these are the huge negative aspects of unique picks, and I actually think that they need to be deliberately done in order for it to be effective for a strategy within professional League of Legends.